You guys should be seeing me. Actually, it was interesting. So, guys, I am streaming. I am online, supposedly. I am online on YouTube, D Live, Periscope, right? Mixer, and Facebook, and Twitch is connecting. But last time I noticed, yesterday, when I downloaded off of YouTube, it cut off like several seconds. I had been, remember I was muted yesterday and I was like, shh. I was like, oh, can you hear me? You only caught the tail end of that. So anyways, guys, this is Wednesday, May 6th, 2020, and I will be taking your calls, and it is just after 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time here in Los Angeles. Welcome, and appreciate you guys joining. And you never know when my stream may drop, so just bear with me. If you happen to find it skipped, that's what happened. And I'll probably be making a scene about it, right? So anyways, I'm just going to talk a little bit before we start the song, because I don't like the song to be interrupted, right? So this is the Hake Report. Also see Hake News from the Jesse Lee Peterson show earlier today. Hake News, I thought, was pretty good, if I do say so myself. Thank you guys for the support. You can read about the Hake News. I post them also on the hakereport.com. Just click on Hake News in the menu section. And then the blog posts have my write-ups from each daily show, right? By the way, did you catch my appearance on Dark Side of the Bear? What? Did you live stream yesterday? That was fun. I talked to Asmodor, Shaggy Boy, Bubs Love, who made a cool song and video. I think I shared it. I shared it, right? On my YouTube channel community post thing. That was nice. I'm going to be covering some of the stuff that I covered in Hake News today, talking a little bit more in depth about it, just a little bit, about this salon owner who was jailed, a pretty lady actually, and this black judge who put her in jail, who, an Obama fan, not a Trump fan, according to his Facebook posts. I'll be showing you some of his Facebook posts. It's just ridiculous. It seems like beneath a judge to do it, but I guess since he's black, he gets away with it, and liberal, right? Ridiculous. And then there's some KKK hood overreaction going on. I have some funny pictures from this guy who wore a KKK hood. Actually, I have an article linking to this Patch article that has a whole bunch of social media posts, and they have all kinds of funny pictures of this guy. So if you're a meme maker, maybe you could look on that Patch article. That's listed on it will be listed on my Hake News segment from today. But the stream's looking all right. Brandon M gave a diamond and said, Hake, have Nick give a report on lolly socks. Whoa. I don't know. Do I want to? By the way, let me write down paramedic asked me a question. That may be something for me to deal with. If not today, then maybe later. Because I gave a sort of dismissive answer on the Dark Side of the Bear What stream. He asked me about Zionism and how it helps America. And I said, well, I mean, they're so powerful, you might as well kiss up to them. But I may talk a little bit more about that, give him an honest response, because, yeah, I was in a hurry to get out of there. Because it was running. Anyways, let's get started with the show, and I will be taking your calls too. But for now, let's do this.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Oh guys.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report.
Look at him.
La la la.
So, what's up guys? I am James Hake. This is the Hake Report, and it is 5 minutes, a little bit more than 5 minutes after the hour of 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And you know what it's just kind of interesting that this black judge gets to tout his hatred of white people, which is President Obama. But meanwhile, a old white guy can't even wear a, well, I mean, kind of rightly so. You're not supposed to wear masks. Can't even wear a KKK hood in the San Diego area. I have pictures for you guys. Let me just dive right into this before I get to calls and everything. This guy wore a KKK type hood, right? That's where it has that pointy top. And he looks like he might have really been in the KKK. Kind of. Maybe not. But he looked like he could have. We don't know who this was. But I have the photographs from this man who showed up at a Vons in Santee, which is a suburb of, suburb of San Diego, right? He's just shopping, being normal. Well, I mean, except for the fact that he's wearing that thing. And then later, once he gets to the checkout line, he finally listens to, according to the story, to the management and store people. Hey, take off that hood. He ignored them for a while. But he got in line finally at the checkout and took off the hood. But doesn't he look like he might have been in the KKK in his heyday? And maybe it was just sort of a statement that he was making. That if we only had whites, we wouldn't have this problem instead of all this globalism. I don't know. But people are like overreacting ridiculously to it. Supervisor Diane, to me, it's kind of funny. He does look like he might be a little off. And you don't want to be covering your entire face because you look like you could rob the place. But everybody was freaking out. The Anti-Defamation League, which makes its business in defaming whites and overreacting to everything pro-America, was overreacting. NAACP, a National Association Against Colored People. Joel gives him credit for his boldness, though. 100. San Diego County District Supervisor Diane, 2 N's, Jacob. A woman. White woman. I don't know what type of so-called white woman she was, but she tweeted a dumb Patch article. And Patch is the article that I mentioned that has a bunch of social media pics, even more than what I'm showing you. And she called this woman who's a supervisor, woman in charge, calling this incident abhorrent and blatant racism. The NAACP Against Colored People wants the sheriff's department to investigate and provide a full report to the community. He didn't even do anything. He didn't even commit any crimes or anything. San Diego County Sheriff's Department, though, reports that its deputies were not called to the scene, but detectives are now looking into it and will pursue criminal charges if necessary. Look at this guy. He's like just just shopping, but with a costume on. Vons put out a statement Sunday, saying an alarming and isolated incident. Exactly, it's an isolated incident. Occurred where a customer chose an inflammatory method of wearing a face covering. I guess you could call it inflammatory, since people overreact to everything KKK or Nazi related. Needless to say, it was shocking, they say, Vons. Several members of our team asked the customer to remove it, and all requests were ignored until the customer went into the checkout line. And we are reviewing with our team how to best handle such inappropriate situations in the future. I mean, it is a weird situation. I understand that. That supervisor woman, Diane Jacob, said, the message that was sent was an ugly one, and that means we must respond, but let's put it behind us, too. Let's overwhelm this one ugly incident with love and compassion, she added. But that's not how people are responding. They're responding, they want to dox this guy. They hate white people who supposedly stand for hate. And I don't know anything about the KKK because it's so irrelevant now. And it's been pretty irrelevant for many decades. On Monday, but they want to pretend like it's relevant. On Monday afternoon, Santee Mayor John Minto reiterated that the city will not tolerate such behavior. What? I'm sorry, I thought this was America. I mean, you shouldn't be covering your entire face because that's what Antifa does. And usually when people do that, they're going to commit a crime. But this man, no mention of any crimes committed, any funny business other than wearing it. So apparently this is not America anymore. So whatever. That's that. Speaking of not America anymore, I have a more normal person. Let's hope. I don't know. I wonder what this guy was. Wouldn't it be nice to talk to this guy and see what's in his mind? Maybe not. So anyways, this salon owner, pretty lady, jailed. I have the headline and some pictures of her from Hake News, hour 1 of Jesse Lee Peterson's show, end of hour 1. This YouTube viewer, regular viewer on the Jesse Lee Peterson show in church, named Was Nothing Real. He asked about this salon owner who went to jail. He says, does she have a GoFundMe or something? I'll donate. I don't like this story at all. The salon owner sent to jail for keeping her business open. And it's not even that she kept her business open. She allowed it to be closed for over a month. Look at her. That's her mugshot. Dang. Told you she's kind of, whatever. She's a pretty lady, right? And they businesses were ordered closed. This is Dallas. This is her peeking out her salon window, wearing a mask. She's wearing a mask inside her own business, like she's supposed to. But they went after her. A couple of judges went after her. This white judge issued a cease and desist letter. She tore it up. This guy, what's his name? Clay something. Temporary restraining order. Oh, no. Tore up a cease and desist letter from County Judge Clay Jenkins. This man. Weak. Dallas Morning News says, Dallas salon owner jailed for reopening in violation of a court order. Shelley Luther, Shelley, Shelley Luther, Luther, defied local and state orders and reopened her business, and now she faces jail time. But yes, I did find a GoFundMe that it does appear to be legitimate. I'm not saying that you should or should not donate. She already got $200,000 according to this. This is a GoFundMe page for her from Rick, I forget his name. Rick something. So she doesn't, Joelle says she doesn't need to work for months. But I don't know, did her employees get in trouble or the people who also work at her salon? Maybe subcontractors, whatever. Rick Heyer organizing this fundraiser. $200,000 raised so far. And this opened in April 22nd or so, 23rd. So just a matter of a couple of weeks, seemingly. 2-3 weeks. So and they're charging her $7,000 for having opened her business. I think it's like $450 or $500 a day for having opened her business during the shutdown. She left it closed for a month. That's enough. So it was shut down March 22nd, forced to close. The county enacted its stay-at-home order. She reopened April 24th, a month and 2 days. Despite that order, tore up the cease and desist letter from that Clay Jenkins guy. And then this guy came on the scene. Temporary restraining order signed April 28th by State District Judge Eric Moyé. M-O-Y-E with an accent over it. He black and a leftist. I have pictures of this guy. And he's posting pictures of himself with Obama. Hates Trump. Hates white people. Look at him. looking like he's all dignified, but we know the truth. Look at that. He posted that in 2012, September 2012, shortly before the re-election of then President Obama. She said that she hadn't earned any income and hadn't gotten any of the federal loans or anything. So she had to do it. And then this judge is all high and mighty saying he gave her an opportunity to apologize. Isn't that a shame? We have undignified people like this judge. I mean, at least he looks like he has some sense, but we really know that he doesn't. But he's saying stuff like he would consider only levying a fine instead of sending her to jail, right? In lieu of the incarceration which you've demonstrated that you have so clearly earned. What? Can they even do that? I don't know. It doesn't seem like America anymore, right? So she's, and this was streamed on YouTube, interestingly enough. I think that she was, I don't know, they're doing all kinds of weird things because of this social distancing stuff. So people aren't even going into the courthouses. So I don't know where or how this went down. But fined $500 per day. And by the way, like I said in Hake News today, the jail had 248 inmates test positive for the coronavirus thing, according to statistics released Tuesday evening. Talk about backwards. It's not, I don't know, it's dumb for them to be shutting stuff down. It shows that they don't really, I don't know, they don't care about, and this judge stays paid. He's a public employee, right? So of course he's not hurting. Ridiculous. Oh, let me show you guys the Facebook post from him real quick. This guy, the first one I have, August 21st, 2016, from Eric V. Moyé. This is a judge sharing this stuff. He shares a post by Go Left, and it's Obama smiling, and he's wearing this red hat that says, "I've already made America great again." That's what he thinks. Ridiculous, right? This is a judge posting this stuff. Eric V. Moyé, August 13th, 2016. Trump is giving his supporters misleading accounts of their ills. True, but this only works until met by critical intellectual analysis. And he's sharing this dumb Washington Compost article, right? A massive new study debunks a widespread theory for Donald Trump's success. But yeah, I noticed that this guy is talking about intellectual analysis. And I was talking on Dark Side of the Bears stream, Bear What stream, on D-Live last night with Asmodor, and he talked about how when you don't interfere with people intellectually and spiritually and stuff, then they still have a bit of common sense. And I told about a friend of mine who was kind of uneducated, but then he got more and more educated, and then he got further and further away from his common sense. But he just had natural common sense. And he's not even a Christian, by the way. And then you look at like people like Joel, like he just has sense. And he's not knowledgeable about politics. So that's critical intellectual analysis. What a mess. And then here's another one against Trump. As Trump apparently has seen fit to question Secretary Clinton's health and stamina, I thought I'd bring this back around. And he shares a Huffington Post article. Ridiculous. And the Huffington Post article is by someone who says, "I'm a doctor. Here's what I find most concerning about Trump's medical letter." This was before President Trump was President Trump, before he got elected even. And he's like kissing up to Secretary Clinton's health and stamina. Silly, huh? This is the judge that put that business owner in jail. An interesting shift in judicial writing, and he's sharing a New York Times article that has this picture, protect abortion access and voter ID cases. This guy's a liberal, Obama supporter, not about justice. There's a guy who calls into my show sometimes, Joe Kenyon. He's a black intellectual himself, sort of a rhino guy. Hates Jesse. and supposedly helps blacks, right? Black kids in his area in Phoenix area, Arizona. But he falls for this intellectual stuff too. But he realizes that he learned in law school. I think he went to law school or something. He learned that the justice system is not at all about justice. And the laws are not about justice. It's about following the laws. And so you have all these unjust people, the Democrats and the rhinos, and the weak people who cave to the female-minded liberals that just come up with these unjust laws, and then the judges get to come up with their own interpretation of the Constitution and say, oh, abortion's fine. Oh, same-sex marriage is a real thing. You have to follow it, and all this mess. And, not whether it's constitutional for these people to close businesses in a so-called pandemic, but, oh, you violated what these people ordered, therefore you go to jail. It seems ridiculous to me. So anyways, that's that. I'm going to get to more. Somebody, I saw a couple of comments in the live chat during the Jesse Lee Peterson show today. Some people were asking about Operation Warp Speed, which is vaccinations, pushing vaccinations. You know what? Maybe I want to get to this right away before I get to calls. And so hang tight, callers. You guys can call in 888-775-3773. But there's this thing called Operation Warp Speed. And somebody made the comment that, it's not, if Drudge covers it, maybe James will cover it a couple of days later. Because all I look at is Drudge, right? But, yeah. So I Googled it. And I learned that Operation Warp Speed, according to the far left NPR, National Public Radio, which should be defunded, they reported last Friday the Trump administration is calling the effort to develop a vaccine for COVID-19. They're calling that effort Operation Warp Speed. And Dr. Anthony Fauci says that if all goes well, we could have hundreds of millions of vaccines as early as next January. Doesn't that make your spine shiver? Because when they're making hundreds of millions of vaccines, there's only hundreds of millions of people in the country. There's 330 million or something like that we know of. Last Friday, CNN said Trump grants Operation Warp Speed a blank check to develop a vaccine, according to a source. They have all these anonymous sources, right? And I like Trump. I trust Trump generally, but I don't trust Fauci. I don't trust the rest of the people in his administration, much less the rest of the executive branch, which I don't know if they even count as his administration, because they're so against him and they're against us. Therefore, pushing, they've been for seeming decades, at least a decade, forcing us to take more or trying to force people to take more and more vaccines. You heard a caller who is currently a trucker in Ohio or somewhere, who used to be in the medical field. He used to be a nurse, a male nurse, but he was a nurse, right? And he worked in the medical field from something like 2008 to 2018. And early on in that time, this was basically the Obama administration, right? Early on, he was not forced to get flu shots. But now it's standard practice. You're expected, you have to get a flu shot if you want to work in the medical field. And that's like their shoehorn or their wedge or their in to start making all of us take their dumb shots. And you hear these horror stories about flu shots every now and then. And if they're trying to get kids vaccinated, this whole, and you hear some supposed conservative people falling for this stuff, where we don't know which vaccines to trust, most of us, and which ones are necessary. But we have the government, which has been known to lie to us regularly, and it's especially pushed by Democrats like this guy Pan. There's this guy with the last name of Pan. He's an Asian guy, supposedly in the medical field, but he's a politician now, an elected representative for California, the state of California, like a state senator or something. And he wrote this thing, the law trying to push all school kids have to get vaccinated. If one doesn't get vaccinated, then somehow the vaccinations don't work for the other kids. I don't know. It's crazy. But so I'm not for vaccines, and I'm for Trump, but I'm not for maybe the people that are doing this. So, and if they're making this many, that means that they want all of us to have them. Seems like to me. CNN on this past Monday said Trump administration's Operation Warp Speed identifies 14 vaccines to focus on. Operation Warp Speed seeks to quickly ramp up production, organize distribution, and determine who gets the first doses of the potential vaccine. The goal, which may prove impossible to meet, says CNN, is to make 100 million doses of this vaccine available by November. Wow. 200 million by December, 300 million doses by January, according to a senior administration official. But, you know, it's very easy for reporters to just make up stuff, make up quotes, but whatever. There are only 300 million, though, people in the country that I know of, 330 or so. So I'm not for that stuff. Maybe if you're an at-risk type of a person, but even then, you don't know. I mean, coming up with a vaccine that it's not going to be well-tested. It may be based on another vaccine that's well-tested. But these things seem sketchy to me. Anyways, I got to talk to you guys about Simp Harry. Poor Prince Harry. But first, let me get to some calls. And I have some super chats to read as well. Lin Yen Chin says, Hake, that's demented, not dignified. He black, referring to this judge being demented. Yeah. Asmodor gave a diamond and said, 1970s swine flu vaccination killed more people than the swine flu. Look it up. Check it out. Trump doesn't want the cure to be worse than the disease, but he's talking about shutting stuff down being worse than the disease, which it is, right? But we don't want the vaccine to be worse than the disease. Mo Betta Jankum says all U.S. people should go out with that mask. Blacks, too. I think referring to the hood, the KKK hood. Asmodor says, if he'd worn a camo hood, no one would have seen him. Yeah, he was wearing camouflage clothes, too. Mobetta Jenkum says, technically it protects him from corona like any mask. Actually, these masks are really to protect others from you, not you from others. I guess because the saying goes that you may touch something and then touch your eyes or your mouth or something. Mobetta Jenkum says, Clown World Bank wants you to wear mask inside. Right. Because usually that's when a bank robber is going to rob the bank. Hey, have Nick get... Oh, yeah, I saw that one. So anyways, let me get to... I'm going to read the YouTube Super Chats after this call. Let me get to Emmanuel out of Ontario, Canada. God with us. Emmanuel, what's up?
Hey.
Hey.
How's it going?
Going well. How about you?
Good. Just trying to stay upright in this upside-down world.
Yeah, that's nice. That's good.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you about these drones they're putting up in the States.
Okay.
What do you know about it? And like what? So I was doing a bit of reading about it. Apparently, a mayor in New Jersey was talking about.
Oh yeah.
Putting them up, but. So I looked it up, and like I just don't know. Do you know if they're actually in the sky, like, or was it just something they're talking about? Because,
you know, I haven't read much at all about these drones. Are you talking about corona detecting drones or social distancing
that's what they're
policing?
them, right?
I've heard of social distancing policing drones, and I've also heard over in Baltimore. I did read a little bit about this that this rich family or whatever, or couple, put together this grant or whatever to have drones flying the city, and then they're constantly just taking video footage, and it's only kept for a certain amount of time. But if there's a violent crime, they may be lucky and catch some of it, so they can refer back to this drone stuff to help deal with the violent crime in Baltimore.
Sounds like the classic scenario of robots taking over human positions.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
and
wild.
it's sketchy.
It feels like an invasion of privacy for real, but it's like, you said, I don't know where you read it or whatever, but it gets deleted after a while. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, right. They probably just say that, right?
Yeah. But yeah, so you don't know like what states, because I heard Jesse talking about it and I was curious. But...
I haven't looked into it at all.
Right.
Yeah. I used to have friends, like liberal friends. I mean, of course, right? And they used to flip off the cameras that were on the streets, surveilling for crime and homeless people acting out and stuff like that.
Right.
You can kind of understand why they're doing it, because, you know, as the people go more out of control, the less freedom they have. That's why we need society back in control. But that's partly why the Democrats support immorality, because they will, it will warrant this type of stuff, like this militarization of police, right? That you hear about. That happens partly because of the out of control people. Yeah, go for it.
Did you hear about the gun ban that just happened over here?
Where in Canada?
Well, there was a shooting.
I don't think I did.
There was a mass shooting in Nova Scotia.
Okay, I think I did hear about that.
So
16 people killed or something like that?
Yeah, and so I guess this guy just went to town in what appeared to be a police car with a assault rifle and just started unloading on people.
Yeah, like a dentist or something in his 50s, right? White guy?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know the full details, but it happened. So, and then Trudeau over here, I don't know if you know much about Trudeau, but he implemented this gun ban against assault rifles, and it's just weird because it's like he thinks that implementing the ban is going to stop the flow of guns, but it's like it's a weird situation. I guess you don't know much about it.
Nick says 1,500 guns were banned.
Yeah.
I know that Trudeau is a proud feminist along with his wife, Sophie.
Yeah, he's a softie.
Yeah.
But, yeah, weird times all around. Right?
Yeah.
So
Nova Scotia, isn't that a nice area?
Yeah, from what I hear about it, it's really weird. It's just like, it kind of just goes to show anybody can kind of go off their rocker at any time. It's like, pretty wild. But so this leads the vaccine stuff.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think about like if there's a way to prove. Most people, they just get the vaccine. They don't even think about what's in it,
right?
Because they're just told this is for your well-being.
Yep.
So it's like, I would advise people to maybe look into what's in the vaccine, and when it comes to looking at the sources that are telling the truth about what's in them, that's a challenge of its own. But like, just do the knowledge. Maybe try to look into it, because I don't trust it either. But I do believe that some vaccines are designed to build the immune system, right? I mean, to protect it.
That's the idea.
That's the idea, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we want it to do, but they're sneaky, and they can put whatever they want in there.
I mean, if somebody's concerned about it and, at risk and stuff like that, and they're confident in the vaccine, I'm all for such people taking them. But for healthy people, I mean, I don't want to get the corona. I don't want to get, because having the flu is no good, and this is supposed to be worse than the flu and longer lasting damage, right? So I don't want it.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to take any vaccine. I don't want to go anywhere near doctors.
Do you know
That's where you go to get
personally?
sick. What's that?
Do you know anyone personally, or know anyone that knows somebody personally that has got the virus or has been sick
I
from it?
only know hearsay, right? So my kindergarten
Yeah, me
teacher
too.
supposedly died of corona. She was probably in her 90s. And I'm not for her dying of corona. I don't know if she did or didn't, though. And so
Right.
there have been a lot of, it seems to be getting closer and closer to home.
Yeah.
So I think that it is a real thing, but for sure it's being
Totally.
exploited by fake people. And
It's
they're
being
lying
taken
about it.
advantage of, yeah.
Yeah. They'll exploit
Yeah.
any crisis, and they'll lie about any crisis too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So I came across this video. I just don't want to take up too much time here.
Yeah, real quick.
I guess the one other thing is I would encourage people to read the Bill of Rights and the Constitution and get familiar with their birthrights and stuff, just in case, you know.
Nice. Yeah.
So, and then also, you guys sometimes do reactions to videos that people send in.
Oh.
Are you one time you did one for this guy called iDubbbz. What do you call it? It's
Right. Yeah, he's a YouTuber, very popular YouTuber, friend of PewDiePie's, who's like the #1 most popular individual YouTuber, or was, who iDubbbz used to call people simps, I think, or maybe something to that effect, right? And
Yeah.
now he's a simp.
right.
Because his girlfriend is going on this OnlyFans, basically making pornography for pay, for individuals to pay for.
He should have listened to Tyson James because he didn't take his time.
Yeah.
He turned him to a beta.
Yep.
But so yeah, there's this video I wanted you to check out, if not today, but at some point. But there's this man on Dr. Phil. I don't know if you've seen it before.
Okay.
But it's-
You know what? Send me the email about it. Send me an email.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
What-
Good to hear from you.
Okay. All right.
It's the Hake Report at gmail.com.
Okay, great.
All right. Take care. Louis out of Idaho. Louis, good to hear from you.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, good to hear from you.
You know, I just want to let you know that. Thanks. Volunteers need vaccines. All hospital employees need vaccines to be employed.
Yeah.
It's a requirement.
And when did that come into play? Is it true that it came only in the...
James, I worked overseas in the 80s.
Yeah.
That's been forever. It's always been.
Okay, so, but what about the so-called flu vaccine? Because that's pretty recent. And I don't...
You know, I'm not a physician or anything like
Yeah.
that. I don't know anything about it. I talked to you about this before.
I remember because I didn't want to go overseas because I didn't want to get shots, because you go to some particular place and you need to get vaccinated or something
And
in
God
order
knows what they're pumping
before
into
you're
your
accepted
arm,
into the
right?
country, right?
Yep.
So like there's been times that I don't want to go there. Do I have to get shots?
Yep.
But yeah, so that you're right. That has been around for a long time, which doesn't necessarily make it right, but it's also not necessarily wrong, I guess. I guess these individual countries have a right to decide what they want people coming in to go through. Except for America, right? We can let the illegal aliens come in.
Yeah, right? Tell me about that.
Yeah.
Even volunteers at nursing homes
Yeah.
need
Interesting.
vaccines. Yeah.
I used to volunteer at a
You know, they should
Alzheimer's
make it so
center.
you
I didn't
can't
have
even
to.
visit someone unless you're vaccinated.
Wow. Well, in times of heightened scares, you can understand that they're going to try to pull this stuff on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Louis. It's good to hear from you.
All right, man. Take it easy. Bye.
All right. Bye. I'm going to get to KT and Rick and the rest of you guys, but real quick, Jib Jab gave a sticker and said, wait for it. Kevin Carter, hey, guys. Jib Jab said, boom, boom time, baby. With bombs and explosions. Emojis, of course. Nonviolent. King Alpha Nerd said, wake and hake. What is a Christian again? Man, don't remind me. Joel dug that one up after I laughed at him so hard because he pronounced it surgery and sedation. Insurgency and sedition. But he knew that the guy misspelled sedation. Anyways, that was funny. Yeah, I said a Christian is someone who's like Jesus. And I tried to give a straight face, and Jesse just looked at me, and I felt stupid. Lin Yan Chin said, my body is the last line of invasion into white man's lands. Since my potential progeny can't do it, I need y'all to repopulate and build up the best age, space age. Wow. Very nice, Lin Yan Chin. Progeny means offspring. Lord Nikon says, deport the FBI and their ADL masters. Yeah, didn't the FBI used to refer to the SPLC website for their authoritative research on so-called hate groups? Disgusting. And the FBI are a bunch of liberals. It's true. Look at James Comey. He's not a logical person. He's a beta simp. James Comey with his with his wife and daughters who went to the Women's March, and the wife cried because Hillary didn't win. I don't know if she cried, but he's pathetic. Anyways, yeah, that's the FBI. Not to be respected. Except for the fact that they can arrest you, right? Whether legally or illegally. Lin Yan Chin says affirmative action wearos every action. I don't know if that's a misspelling. Affirmative action wearos every action of the admired and the affirming. Affirming. It's welfare for substance of character. Who fares well on welfare? A mess. Yeah, I agree. I catch the gist of it, and I agree. Not good. Affirmative action nor welfare. Lin Yan Chin says KKK hood was just showing strong Democrat support. I know, and these people reacting so hatefully to him, they're the ones hating. And maybe he does have hate, this guy. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. We don't know what's in his mind. But we know what's in the minds of the haters of him. This guy who wore the hood and the Vons. So judgmental, right? Lin Yan Chin says maybe his statement is corona masking is a silly mess, and he chose to mockingly convey via donning the KKK mask? Maybe. Giovanni A. here. Jib Jab says the UFC was deemed essential, while everybody else splank bleep out of luck. SMH. Yeah. I heard WWE too. World Wrestling Entertainment. Am I wrong? I might have been wrong. CJ Connor says, you ruined my day with that Tiki Talk pee on yourself video, y'all. Good Lord. Yeah, it wasn't my choice. I did not know it was coming. Blame Nick. The ankle baby. Lin Yan Chin says, vaccination is innovation of modern eugenics. Wow. They want to reduce the population. The primary virus that's targeted by vaccines is mankind. Interesting theory. They do want to depopulate. They think, these disgusting people like Dan Savage. Google a picture of Dan Savage. He's a liberal, not just a liberal, but a homosexual, as in gay. Radical. He started this group or campaign that says it gets better, which is aimed at children who are like they're feeling homosexual and they feel like, oh, bullying is so bad, oh, my parents don't accept me, oh, but he has this campaign, it gets better. So he's encouraging the gays to be full-blown gay. So that's this guy, Dan Savage. And I remember a clip of him when I was early on as producer of the Jesse Lee Peterson show, talking about the world is overpopulated. Well, he's doing his part depopulating by being gay. Oh, no, that's too much, Joel. That's him with a blonde dude. Such a shame. What a waste. Anyways, yeah, that's depopulation stuff. Danny says, Hake, you don't have to take the vaccine. Yeah, I hope you're right, Danny. If so, then, that's nice of President Trump to make vaccines that we can optionally take, right? Lin Yan Chin says there is a reason why the Matrix, I almost said Marxist, Matrix had Agent Smith articulate Hollywood plus globalist belief that humanity is a locust-like virus and deserves eradication. Vaccination is just one of many ways for it. You know, he may be right. I don't know. King Alpha Nerd says, WWE and AEW are essential. WWE used to be known as WWF, World Wrestling Federation. Now they call it entertainment. AEW, I'm not sure what that is, are essential, though, he says. They still show weekly without the fans. Yeah, they're performing in front of empty stands. AEW, All Elite Wrestling. There, I looked it up. Thanks, guys. All right, let me get to KT. Oh, you know what? KT, hang tight. Hang tight one moment. And KT, by the way, for some reason I connect KT with the medical field in some way. But hold on. Let me just tell you guys about Simp Harry before I run out of time. Daily Star reports Simp Harry, better known as Prince Harry. And simp means a kiss up to women, basically. Especially this woman who's his wife now. Daily Star reports Prince Harry sells $50,000 hunting rifle collection. He sells it off, gets rid of it to please Meghan Markle. That's his wife, even though she doesn't have his last name. SMH. Where is that sticker on D Live with the Pepe going, simp, simp, simp? That's what I think of when I see stuff like this. But I mean, what is it part of? I don't know. Seems like every man that gets with a woman, they become whipped a little bit. But this is too much. At least it's like part of the process. They get whipped and then they have to overcome it, right? I don't know. But it definitely seems like it. And especially nowadays. And I think even back in the days, but in the olden days, they wouldn't have gone this far, right? Harry, who has been hunting since a young age, sold his handmade rifle collection just before stepping down as senior member of the royal family, which is another whipped move to please his animal-loving wife, Meghan, so-called wife. Because she's already been married before, right? Evil woman, this animal-loving duchess, so-called duchess, hasn't she stepped down? Reportedly doesn't like hunting. So husband Harry decided to quit the hobby. If she doesn't like it, she can stay home. How does she feel about abortion? You know, killing babies in the womb? She's been celebrated, so-called, by the liberal media as being a royal advocate for so-called gender equality, which may or may not mean that killing babies in the womb is A-okay with her. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I think she probably supports abortion. I haven't heard her speak against it. A hunter reportedly bought a pair of the Purdy firearms 5 months ago, before the royal couple stepped down as senior members of the royal family, reports The Sun. Meghan Markle is opposed to blood sports and even follows a vegan diet during the week, despite Harry partaking in the sport since he was a child. A friend of the anonymous buyer who bought these rifles, I guess he didn't know this at the time. He bought them because he wanted them, not because they belonged to Harry, but he was quite chuffed when he found out. Chuffed, I guess, means upset, because he wasn't into, like, bragging, oh, these are royal guns. Harry and his brother William have been criticized in the past for their hunting habits by lame people, which they have maintained despite their extensive wildlife campaigning. What a mess. So that's him. And Jane Goodall weighed in on it, by the way. You know Jane Goodall? I saw this movie. My dad showed it to us, Gorillas in the Mist, which was a movie from the maybe early 90s or late 80s about this primatologist, meaning she studied gorillas and primates, right? So-called primates, they call them. Gorillas. Dr. Jane Goodall. She's 86 now. Last month, she is a friend of Harry's and told Radio Times that she thinks the Duke will give up hunting Wow. Horrible woman. And she said that, and she's a liberal, by the way. She said that Harry and William were champions of the natural world, except they hunt and shoot, Goodall said. I think Harry will stop because Meghan doesn't like hunting. So I suspect that is over for him. Talk about who's in charge. Sandringham Estate in Norfolk. Harry and William have regularly taken part in Boxing Day shoots at the Queen's Sandringham Estate in Norfolk, which has led to criticism of the brothers by stupids. A photo of Harry crouching over the body of a water buffalo that he shot dead. I don't have this photo. During a hunting trip on his gap year in South America in 2004 emerged publicly 10 years later. By the way, this week, the couple is now residing in the U.S. Get out of America. Is launching a new biography. They announced they're launching a new biography named Finding Freedom. It reminds me of Eve helping Adam find freedom from God. Vows to unveil new details about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex following their dramatic royal exit. Oh, Joelle found it. Dang. Back in the day when he had great hair and he had a water buffalo and he was young and wild and free. Not that free, though. He was probably miserable even back then. But he's gotten worse. People get worse as they age, seemingly. Sometimes. Went down the wrong path. Thanks, Joelle. That's nice. And if I have time, I may get to, speaking of men doing crazy things for a woman, this UK government scientist who resigned after breaking the lockdown rules that he was kind of instrumental in setting them to meet a married so-called lover. What a shame. It just shows you that people don't really take this that seriously. Except for maybe women. But anyways, KT out of Washington, D.C. Thanks for holding, man. What's up?
Hey, Hake, were you about to dox me earlier?
You never know, man. You never know. Me and my big mouth.
It's all right. You can dox me. I'm SOBC. Everyone in the chat knows that.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to that Harry story actually reminds me of the time when my wife and I got married, and I had this bunch of guns with me, and she was like, "Oh, I'm so scared. They're so black and big. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared." And I was like, you know what? I'm not selling these guns. They're not going anywhere.
Nice.
And one time I had to literally drag her out of the house to go shoot some guns at the gun range.
Right on.
And from that day on, she loves shooting. She just wants to go to the gun range every other weekend.
That's cool.
So
that's a nice story.
So yeah,
that's what he should have done with her. But I don't know. She's
exactly
too far
right.
gone, maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say something about vaccines. Ever since I had a child, I've learned something about medical doctors. Medical doctors are not that most medical doctors are not as intelligent as we've been taught. For example, I took my son one time for his regular checkup, and this was actually last year during the whole flu season.
Mm-hmm.
And his doctor was like, "Hey, I think it's time he needs to get a flu shot today." And I was like, no, he's not going to get a flu shot.
Nice.
And the doctor was like, "Why?" And I asked the doctor, "So what's in the flu shot?" And he couldn't tell me. He couldn't tell me.
Yeah.
He just said, just spitting out some, this flu shot he needs a flu shot. It's the flu season. He's going to get sick. He needs to be safe, blah, blah, blah. Just spewing out. And funny thing is, he tried to bully my wife and I into getting the shot. But I'm lucky I was there that day, because if it was just my wife, I think he would have bullied her into giving my son that flu shot.
Yeah.
So I stood up to him. I was like, no, he's not going to get that flu shot. So
good.
That's the thing about these doctors. All they know how to do is prescribe medicine. That's all they do. Just prescribe medicine. You have a headache, go take this. You have this, take that.
Yeah.
They don't try to figure out why you have that headache. They don't try to figure out why you have that bump on your belly. Or, they just they say, oh, put this on your go get that, go get this, go get that. That's all they know how to do. They're not that intelligent.
Yeah, it seems that way to me too. I talked to a friend of mine who actually used to copy off of me in high school, and then and then he became a doctor. And I'm all, doctors overprescribe all this medication stuff. And his excuse was, what he told me was that this is what the people are asking for. Most of these patients are asking for this stuff. So it's like a vicious circle of corrupt patients and doctors feeding each other's corruption rather than getting actually healthy. It's not about health. The so-called healthcare industry is not anything to do about health. And it's most blatant when they talk about so-called reproductive healthcare, which we all know is a euphemism for killing babies.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's cool. I'm glad that. Normally, fathers don't. Well, to my knowledge, fathers don't normally take the kids to the doctor. It's the mothers that do it. I only ever went with my mother. I've never been. Actually, only one time or twice. In emergency situations, did my father take me to the doctor. But I guess back then it wasn't as just corrupt, where they want to just give you a bunch of medicine and send you off. But
exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I always go to my son's appointment. Always. I never miss it.
Nice. That's good, man. That's cool. Right on, KT. It's good to hear from you, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, great to hear from you, too. Keep up the great work. And we'll continue supporting.
Cool. Hope to see you soon. We'll see if this shutdown lasts. We're supposed to be having our 30th anniversary.
I was planning to fly down that day you guys shut down the church.
Yeah.
I was actually planning to come down that day on a surprise flight.
Man.
And, things didn't work out, so I had to cancel my flight.
Well, I'm glad that worked out, that it didn't happen, because that would have been awful. An awful waste, right? A shame.
Yep.
Well, KT, we'll see you again sometime, I'm sure.
All right, James.
All right.
James.
Take care.
All right. Take care.
Asmodor is in the room, says Mobetta Jankum. Give some treasure chests back. Mobetta Jankum did get the most treasure chests, but he's been given a lot as well anyways. He also said that boy lover, referring to Dan Savage presumably, know his community get the COVID? Yeah. First to go, huh? The people with the worst habits. Let me get to Rick before we wrap up, out of Hampton, Virginia. Rick, tell me what's going on.
Brother, what's going on, man? Love you, brother. Keep up the good work, man. But I'm going to get to it real quick.
Yeah.
Hey, you heard about that run in Georgia, man? I think it's a little more to that.
Explain briefly. Explain in the gist of what happened with this runner in Georgia.
Yeah, he was running, and what happened? He was running.
A black runner? Was he black?
Yeah. Yes, he was black. The runner was black, and two guys was saying he fit the screws on a security camera, and then
of like a crime, a robbery.
Yeah. So they was asking him to stop and trying to ask him some questions.
And these were cops? These were cops who stopped him?
No, they weren't cops. That's the only thing that may get them. They wasn't police officers. They was, thinking...
White guys?
Yeah, two white guys.
How they knew? I wonder how they knew about this.
They were saying he fit the script on the security camera.
Uh-huh.
So they tried to, approach him to ask him questions, but the dog overreacted and started fighting one of them, and then he shot him, and then the other guy shot him too.
Wow.
So I think I just hate, that they put them in the bad position, because he could have done something wrong if they had handled it right, and that's what I'm saying. With Jesse, when you get angry, you're gonna mishandle stuff.
Right. Yep.
And that's a good example right there. The black guy probably done something wrong. And then all they had to do was just call up, or he just follow him to home and have the police come down.
Man, we'll look into that story, Rick. Somebody somebody in the chat was speculating that there may be race riots over this case. I don't know, but Yeah, we'll look into it.
Interesting, man. And it's out of Georgia. The guy's from I think what's his name, Avery. I think it's Arbery or something his last name. But anyway,
Okay.
It's from Georgia. He's a dog. You just Google the story up, but there's not much.
He was
on
killed. Yeah, he was killed.
He was dead. Yeah, he was killed. You're dead.
Yeah.
And it's not much on it. It's not that much information on it. That's the bad thing about it.
Right, and people make all kinds of conclusions that usually aren't true.
Video that they playing over and over and over.
Yeah,
that's all he got. But I think there's a little more to that. But I think unfortunately something will still happen to the guys because
we'll see,
how they
man.
approach them, So I'm hoping
Rick,
the best.
I gotta end. Appreciate you, man. Take care.
Oh, love you, man. Be good, man. You too.
All right, guys. Let me just double check this thing. Jib Jab says show expansion is slowly creeping up. Yeah, that's true. We're just did I have any drop-offs today? No drop-offs? Seemed like it was clean. Nice. Thanks, guys. TheHakeReport.com/show for my stuff. JesseLeePeterson.com/show for Jesse's stuff. All right, guys. Take care.